biggest election probably of the year was the Turkish election.
Yes.
We had the first round, and I'll read out the results. Erdogan, he got 49.5% of the vote. His opposition, Kemal, he got 44.9% of the vote.
Mm-hmm.
And then another candidate, Ogan, he got 5.2% of the vote. So opposition in total did fairly basically as well as Erdogan, but Erdogan fell below that 50% threshold that was crucial for him to win the presidency. If he won 50% in this election, he would still be president today. But because he fell under that 50%, there's going to be another election in a couple weeks that will decide who will be the president of Turkey, and if Turkey will continue going down their rightward shift.
Yeah, this is a huge deal. I feel like for Turkey's for Turkey's politics.
Definitely.
Erdogan he's very pro-Russia. He's been moving away from the West, criticizing the United States and its European allies
Against the expansion of NATO, right? He was against the Finland entry, against Swedish entry.
Exactly. And like you're saying, he is the staunch right-wing candidate. He's been making Turkey much more of kind of a traditional religious outpost, religious conservative outpost. The opposition is not that. It is, and Erdogan has also been very undemocratic.
Yeah.
He's ruled fairly authoritarianly. The opposition is supported by the youth of the country. It's going to be less strictly religious and conservative, open things up, be more liberal. When I saw these results, I kind of, my shoulders kind of sunk. The breath kind of let out of me. I wasn't happy with it because it seems too good for Erdogan for me. And you disagree.
I do. I think it's better for the opposition. I think there are some districts that swung away from Erdogan from the last presidential election, specifically around the suburbs around Istanbul. Swang from pro-Erdogan in the last election to now pro-opposition.
Okay.
I think that's a good development. Also, the person who came in third, Ogan, who got 5.2%, will, in all probability, be endorsing Kemal, Erdogan's opposition.
Sure.
And if we combine those two parties, we have a number bigger than Erdogan's vote share.
True.
So that's why I'm hopeful, and I'm glad we made it into the second round. But that's kind of why I think it's a good thing. Obviously I'm disappointed we couldn't knock him out in the first round. It's disappointing that still so much of the country is so committed to his path forward. He had a lot of sleazy games going on, especially in the Kurdish cities. Kurdish? Yeah. Especially in the Kurdish cities, with election watchers, quote unquote. You hear poll watchers all the time in the United States now, shutting down poll stations in Kurdish majority cities and Kurdish townships. And despite that, he did not win in the first round. And that makes me happy,
True. Hopefully it's progress, at least. Because the polling had Kemal over Erdogan.
I know.
And so that's why I expected maybe it still went to a runoff, but I thought a win outright, or at least a lead,
right,
for Kemal going into a runoff election would have made sense. Yeah. And so for this is a 5-point difference in voting between the two. And I honestly wonder if how much power Erdogan has there, and if he's
that close.
Well, if he's able to meddle with this election.
Right, so I'm saying if he's that close in that margin, maybe he could meddle and make the difference, right?
Yeah, right? Exactly.
If it's not it's so interesting about this polling thing, because we saw the same thing in the Brazil election last year or something. I forgot exactly when it was, but Lula versus Bolsonaro. The polling had Lula way up. But the time election come around, Lula only won by 2 or 3% or something. It was very close. And I don't know why that is. I don't know the methodology of those polling as well as I know the methodologies for American polling.
Okay.
But, there is something up with that.
Yeah.
Just so everyone, my background is in data science and math, so that's why I would, bore you with that stuff.
You could potentially be listened to by someone.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that's the Turkish election. We'll keep you up to date on that. We'll talk about the next round when it happens.
Yeah.
Let's go Kemal and the youth of Turkey.
Exactly.
Another interesting thing, Kemal is very much tying himself to the history of Ataturk, the founder of.
Oh.
Yeah, he's very much tying himself to Ataturk.
Okay.
Yeah, because Ataturk was distinctly secular. In a lot of ways, he was not for a Islamic nation the same way that.
Okay.
Yeah, the same way
Okay.
Erdogan is in his current parties.